Let me just say, first of all, that there are a couple of important things I want to share, but the most important is the first. Just above on the screen, you're going to find a picture of a gentleman. This man's name is Frank Douglas Walker. This is my mother's grandfather, who hails from Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, you didn't know that I was Irish, did you? For the past month, I've been walking around my office trying to convince my staff to respect my Irish roots. And half of them don't believe me, and the other half don't care about my Irish root. But I think it's really important for you all to know that you are standing in the midst of an Irishman. Though my complexion does betray me. Now, let me give you some history, answer a few of the questions. First of all, St. Patrick, yes, was a Brit. I mean, he wasn't Irish per se. In fact, his name isn't even St. Patrick. It's Mauen Sagut. Now, let me give you a few things I'll get out your way. What he understood was that it was important to create community. And so, in fact, the title of this sermon is called Community, the Celtic Way. Community, the Celtic Way. I'm going to give you 6 elements of the community, and then we'll close with prayer. Now, the first thing we see in the community that St. Patrick created was that we see this element of conviction. St. Patrick and the band of folk that went with him to Ireland had conviction. Now, let me explain why that's important. At the time, there were some who were advancing the kingdom that felt like some people were too far gone, were too barbaric, were too uncivilized to receive the gospel. They were just on the fringes. They were just adjacent. They were just far enough that they could not receive and embrace the gospel. What St. Patrick and his folk did was understand that there was no one that was too far, no one that was too barbaric, no one that was too uncivilized to hear the gospel. Here's the second one. Number 2, he understood the principle of contact. The principle of contact was this. He recognized that it was important to make a connection with people before we sought to convert them to our ideas. The next one is conversation. Here's what they understood. Cliff, they understood that two-way communication was most times more effective than one-way presentation. All right, here's the next one. He also understood contextualization. He understood that he had to present the gospel within the context of the hearer. You follow what I'm saying? This is why we see Jesus. When he's teaching, he would often use a fish. He would often go on a boat. He would find things that would have made sense. All right, here's the next one. Next one, I love this, my favorite one, was credibility. Now, this is twofold. It's credibility. The next thing he employed was credibility. From this standpoint, number 1, he and his group believed what they taught. They also lived what they believed. Here's the last one. Last one is contemplative prayer. Contemplative prayer. Let me explain what I mean by that. It was the type of prayer they abandoned, in fact, were hostile toward the notion of, and I don't want to mess with your theology, certainly, however you do it, just as long as you're praying, God bless you. But they were hostile toward the notion of having prescribed times of day to pray. And you pray in the morning or pray in the afternoon and pray at night, or you have this. They abandoned that. That's number 1. Number 2, they abandoned the notion of what they call the controlling prayer, meaning where they imposed upon God their own wills and demands. And I just want you to know that this was very important to me, because it's really my heart song. If nothing else, I don't know where I said it somewhere. There's probably not a topic more important to me than evangelism. It's just not. Not as an institution, not as a structure, not as a department, not in that context, but in the context of understanding that all of us in the family of faith, the moment you're saved, you're immediately deputized into the evangelism ministry. Immediately. The moment you're saved, that's it. It's like a one-shot deal.